Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The man in the black mask, he's back for the summer, man. Happy summer to each and every one of you fans of the man in the black mask. And he's here to talk about the most important event in history, indeed. And it is Derek Chauvin receives 22 and a half years in prison for killing George Floyd. I firmly believe that, he should have got 25 to life and not just a little over 20 years. But I felt it should have been 25 to life, okay? Which is what most lifers get. Because most people that get 25 to life never leave prison. Think about people like Charles Manson, and David Berkowitz, the son of Sam. Think about it. They got 25 to life, but guess fucking what? They're still in jail. Well, not Manson because he's dead, but David Berkowitz, he's still locked up to this day. And he don't give a fuck. Anyway, backtrack to Derek Chauvin. Let me show you a picture of this piece of shit. You see this right here? See this fucktard right here? He didn't show an ounce of remorse. Okay? He did not care about the fact that he ruined his life and other people's, let alone the Floyd family. He didn't care about the consequences. And even though he's still locked up, he still don't give a fuck. I'll bet you he don't. Okay? I bet you he still don't give a shit. But you know what? Fuck him. Fuck him. And they better put his ass in solitary. Because the Black Guerrilla Gang or whoever the fuck is in charge up in there, they will kill his ass up in there. You understand me? They will fucking kill him. Okay? I bet you some of the black guards is up in there too and can't wait to get their hands on that bastard. And you know what? I couldn't blame you enough. I can't blame them for wanting to get revenge on this bastard. Because I'm sure the Black Guerrilla Gang would consider George Floyd a brother of theirs, even though they didn't know him personally. But he's still a black man. And Chauvin, meanwhile, committed a crime against someone who's black. Someone who clearly wasn't doing shit. Got killed over a fucking misdemeanor. Come on, man. Anyway, let me read this article, okay? And voice my political views after I read the article. But I gotta read this shit right here, okay? The man in the black mask, he's very glad to have come back to share this story with you. And this article is from the Associated Press. Minneapolis. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was sentenced Friday to 22 and a half years in prison for the murder of George Floyd, whose dying gasp under Chauvin's knee led to the biggest outcry against racial injustice in the U.S. in generations. Which is agreed. I'm glad the man in the black mask signed up for this channel to voice his political views on some of the stuff that hits close to home, that a lot of you can relate to. So thank you for supporting me. Anyway, the punishment which came after Chauvin broke his year-long silence to offer condolences to the Floyd family and express hope that they eventually have some peace of mind, is one of the longest prison terms ever imposed on a U.S. police officer in the killing of a black person. Now, Chauvin hoped to express some peace of mind, or how can I say this? He had hoped to express condolences to the Floyd family and express hope that they have some peace of mind. I mean, come on. They're never going to have a peace of mind when it comes to a fuck like Chauvin, okay? How the fuck can you ask the very people to forgive you for ruining their life and killing their brother, cousin, son, father, fucking you name it? I mean, come on now. I think Mr. Chauvin's a motherfucking hypocrite. Killed a black man for no fucking reason. How the fuck can you radio Raheem a black man and then ask for sympathy and a peace of mind? Shut the fuck up, man. Still, Floyd family members and others were disappointed. The sentence fell short of the 30 years prosecutors had requested. And with good behavior, listen to this, Chauvin, 45, could get out on parole after serving 2/3 of his sentence, which is about 66 to 67%, and not the traditional 85% which you would have had to serve. Because had it been me or any black person, even if we didn't get life, we'd have to serve 85% of our sentence. Okay? 85 fucking percent. Reason it didn't apply to him? Because he's fucking white, okay? Let me put you that way. Okay? Now let me backtrack to this. Okay? With good behavior, Chauvin, 45, could get out on parole after serving 2/3 of his sentence, or about 15 years. Come on, that's not even close to fucking justice. 25 to life. Now that is definitely justice. 25 to life or 30 to life. I was hoping that if he got a lesser sentence, it would be 25 to life, meaning that him getting out will not be promised nor guaranteed. Think about David Berkowitz, okay? I just told you earlier. He's the son of Sam, and he murdered all those women for no reason, and yet he's still locked up to this day. But he don't give a shit. Anyway, fuck him. And fuck Chauvin too. Just because it's the most time doesn't mean it's enough time, said Nakima Levy Armstrong, a Minneapolis protest leader. Judge Peter Cahill went beyond the 12-and-a-half-year sentence prescribed under state guidelines, citing Chauvin's quote-unquote, the abuse of a position of trust and authority, and also the particular cruelty shown to Mr. Floyd. You know, the knee on the neck, 9 minutes and 20 fucking seconds. I mean, come on. I'm glad Judge Mr. Peter Cahill threw the book at him a little. But I felt that he should have gave Mr. Chauvin 25 to life. Okay, that's what I was rooting for. At least 25 to life. Think about it. Even if you were sentenced to 15 to life, there's no guarantee that you'll get out. Think about it. Your sentence has life in it. So even if you do get out, you'll be on parole for the rest of your life. So even though you may be free physically, you definitely ain't free mentally. And technically, you still ain't free. Not if you're on papers and shit for the rest of your life. I mean, come on. That's not fucking freedom. Motherfuckers are still watching you 24/7. Tapping your phone, you know, saying, bugging your house, the whole 9 yards. Okay? You may be free physically, but technically you ain't free. Not when it comes to being on paper. Anyway, Floyd family attorney Ben Crump said the family had gotten some measure of accountability, but is hoping Chauvin gets the maximum at his upcoming federal civil rights trial. Now gear up for that, okay? One down, one to go. So the Chauvin story is not yet finished, okay? And he must still have to answer to what he did to this 14-year-old boy back in 2007. He tried to do the same shit to a 14-year-old boy, and he's currently facing federal civil rights charges in connection with that case too. So Chauvin could get additional time, but I was hoping it was for the Floyd murder alone and not for nothing else. Just like some of you black audience members watching my show. But it's okay. We're still going to win this fucking fight. You understand me? We're winning this, motherfucker. Crump said this was the longest sentence a police officer has ever received in Minnesota. But he added, real justice in America will be black men and black women and people of color who will not have to fear being killed by the police just because of the color of their skin. That would be real justice. Fucking A. Tell it like it is, Mr. Ben Crump. Outside the courthouse, a crowd of about 50 people clasped hands or placed them on each other's shoulders. The reaction was subdued as people debated whether the sentence was long enough. Some cursed and discussed. You know, like me. Okay? Like me. I couldn't believe in my goddamn self. And let me tell you something before I finish reading. Had Mr. Chauvin been black, and fucking George Floyd, meanwhile, was white, and he killed Mr. Floyd, guess what? Chauvin would have probably got the death penalty, or life without parole. But the only reason why his sentence was not as stiff as it should have been was because it was vice versa, meaning that Chauvin is white and Floyd is black. And he died such a horrible death, one I wouldn't wish upon nobody, okay? And when I look at that, that could have been me or any one of you black audience members. Hell, it could be some of you that's white too. Because trust me, white people get abused by police too. Think about jail. White people get abused in jail just like black people. Because, you know, saying in prison, you're not really free. You're not really safe. And trust me, if you don't have a problem with the inmates, you most definitely will have a problem with the guards because they will fucking kill you, son. They killed inmates before, and they don't give a shit. They're still going to get their fucking pension at the end of the day and not give two fucks about you, and they're still going to fucking sleep good at night. Okay. At George Floyd Square, as the intersection where Floyd was pinned to the pavement is now known, members of the crowd broke into applause, and several said, "We'll take it." Chauvin was immediately led back to prison. He showed little emotion when the judge pronounced the sentence. Fucking bitch! His eyes moved rapidly around the courtroom, his COVID-19 mask obscuring much of his face. The far-white officer was convicted in April of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter for pressing his knee against Floyd's neck for up to 9.5 minutes as the 46-year-old man gasped that he couldn't breathe and went limp on May 25th, 2020. Now, we was in phase 1 of reopening during that time, but we was still in shutdown mode. Okay, I could not believe that we had to sit through with that kind of bullshit, man. I could not believe it. Okay? I might read a few more articles to you related to this one, but this one is just way too important. So I may be on here just a little longer, but if you can sit back and enjoy, I would truly appreciate that. Now, more from Chauvin's sentencing. Miss you. Floyd's daughter speaks at Chauvin's sentencing. Chauvin prosecutor tells judge that Floyd was tortured. Fucking out. I agree with you on that one. Chauvin's mother calls her son honorable and selfless. Fuck you. Floyd's brother. My family has been given a life sentence. Fucking A right, man. Fucking I. Chauvin's mother's a piece of shit. But you know how it is with family members. They defend their loved ones that do bad shit. I think about Daniel Hostclaw, when he raped all those black women. And guess what? His family still kissed his ass. And didn't really give a fuck about the many lives that Hostclaw ruined. Let alone those women that clearly did not deserve what happened to them, no matter what their past represented. George Floyd might have had a past, but he didn't deserve what happened to him. He should have been fucking killed for it. I mean, come on. Bystander video of Floyd's arrest on suspicion of passing a counterfeit $20 bill at a corner store prompted protests around the world and led to scattered violence in Minneapolis and beyond, as well as demands for overhauling police departments. Now, it's also worth noting that on Wednesday or Thursday, saying 2 of George Floyd's statues were vandalized by white supremacists. Now, they didn't say nothing much about that during sentencing. They should have brought that up, but they didn't, and I'm quite pissed off that they didn't share that story neither. Not too much, anyway. I mean, come on, man. This is just fucking unnerving at its own right. On Friday, Chauvin, who did not testify as trial, removed his mask and turned toward the Floyd family, speaking only briefly because of what he called some additional legal matters at hand. Yeah, particularly that the 14-year-old that he tried to kill. An apparent reference to the federal civil rights trial, where his words could be used against him. Yeah, he should be scared. He should be fucking scared. I mean, look what he contributed to, man. I know you're not going to tell me that's fucking good. I mean, is that a good fucking thing? No, it's not. It's a bad fucking thing. I do want to give my condolences to the Floyd family. There's going to be some other information in the future that will be of interest. And I hope things will give you some peace of mind, he said without further explanation. Yeah, well, Mr. Chauvin sounds like a motherfucking hypocrite. You understand me? He's a motherfucking pig-sucking hypocrite. Old-ass motherfucker, man. He looked mad crazy, son. He clearly did not give a fuck about killing George Floyd. He appeared to be proud of himself for what he did. I knew he was proud of himself. I'm not proud, because that could have been my fucking brother. That could have been my fucking cousin, my fucking child. That could have been anybody. A lot of you is thinking the same thing, too. What if the motherfucker that killed Floyd was my brother, or my father, or my son, or my grandson, or my boyfriend, my husband, the whole 9 yards? Think about it. I think about it more, me being a product of a racist institution. I mean, come on. This offends me more than anything. Just makes me want to fucking smash something, son. You got no idea how this impacted me. This racist, institutionalized fucking... goddamn. I'm telling you. Shit got worse right after Donald Trump took office. And he's another one who deserves to be locked up for the rest of his fucking life. He fucking killed Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Defense attorney Eric Nelson had asked that Chauvin be let off on probation, saying the former officer's brain is littered with what ifs from that day. Fuck. What if I just did not agree to go in that day? What if things had gone differently? What if I never responded to that quote? What if? Well, I think that's a sign that Chauvin is finally admitting guilt. That's God punishing him, you see. This is God punishing him for killing a black innocent man. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for punishing Mr. Chauvin, making him pay for his sins. Keep up the good work. I know Jesus is proud, too, of the fact that Chauvin is paying the price for what he did. And Chauvin's mother, Carolyn Poleni, pleaded for mercy for his son, saying his reputation had been unfairly reduced to that of an aggressive, heartless, and uncaring person and a racist. Well, Chauvin clearly deserves a title because he killed an innocent man, let alone a black man. Okay, he killed a black man for no reason over an alleged fake $20 bill. I mean, come on, you don't get the death penalty for trying to buy shit from a store with a fake $20 bill. It may get your ass whooped, yeah, but killed? No, it shouldn't even have to boil down to that, but it did. I want this court to know that none of these things are true and that my son is a good man, she told the judge, adding, Derek, I want you to know I have always believed in your innocence, and I will never waver from that. Well, that's parents sticking up for their kids no matter how fucked up they are, of course. I will be here when you come home, she said. Prosecutor Matthew Frank, in asking the judge to exceed the sentencing guidelines, said tortured is the right word for what that officer did to Floyd. Of course, 9 minutes and 22 seconds on the nose. This is not a momentary gunshot. Punch to the face. This is 9.5 minutes of cruelty to a man who was helpless and just begging for his life, Frank said. Let me just repeat this too so that everybody understands. This is not a momentary gunshot. Punch to the face. This is 9.5 minutes of cruelty to a man who was helpless and just begging for his life. Thank you, Frank. You made your voice heard, and you made yourself known. I'm glad Frank made his presence known that day. And so did the other Floyd family, and particularly Floyd's daughter. She made her presence known too. I'm going to read her statement too at some point. Floyd's family members had cheerfully asked the judge to impose the maximum, which was 40 years. Several spoke before sentencing, and his 7-year-old daughter, Gianna, bless her heart, was seen in a recorded video. I miss you, and I love you, Gianna Floyd said in the video, when asked what she would say to her daddy. She had a list of things she would have liked to do with him. I want to play with him, have fun, go on a plane ride. Well, that's not going to happen until she herself goes to heaven, which is not going to happen for a very long time because she got a dozen years ahead of her. And I really hope that Gianna does well in school. And I sure hope that this don't drive her crazy because most people go crazy after their parents or other family members get killed in such a violent way. Because let me tell you, if any of my parents died violently with me being a young age, guess what? I probably wouldn't have handled it too well. I probably would have bummed out and spazzed out and did God knows what. Not everybody can deal with bereavement very well. So, yeah, I can understand. And those of you that have been in that situation, my heart goes out to you. And I wouldn't wish this on nobody, not even my worst enemy. But I do wish this, that you pray for your loved ones that might have suffered violently. Just say a prayer for them. And pray that everything will be better once you reunite with them in the afterlife. Afterward, Floyd's nephew, Brandon Williams, said the sentence was insufficient. When you think about George being murdered in cold blood with a knee on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, execution style in broad daylight, LaTonya Floyd, George Floyd's sister, said of the punishment, that's nothing. That's nothing. He should have got the max period. Fucking A. I feel he should have at least got 25 to life. Because that definitely is justice. 25 to life. Because anytime you receive a sentence that has life in it, don't expect to be released from parole 1, 2, 3 just because you served 100% of your sentence. No, that's not going to fucking fly in this day. So if you have any comment, just leave something underneath my window, okay? Just do that and I'll respond to it, okay? Because this is a very important topic. The concrete barricades, razor wire, and National Guard patrols at the courthouse during Chauvin's 3-week trial in the spring were gone Friday, reflecting an easing of tension since the verdict. Before the sentencing, the judge denied Chauvin's request for a new trial. Thank you. The defense had argued that the intense publicity tainted the jury pool and that the trial should have been moved out of Minneapolis. I'm glad it didn't get moved out of Minneapolis because let me tell you something. Let me tell you my opinion. Had the trial been moved outside of Minneapolis, Mr. Chauvin would have probably been acquitted, which would have been even more fucked up. I don't even want to think about it, but I think that's what the lawyer was trying to argue. That if the case gets moved out of Minneapolis, he can get a fair trial and he can walk. Well, guess fucking what? It didn't happen. Not even close. He got convicted of every fucking thing. Every motherfucking charge in the indictment. He got convicted of. And yet still got 22.5 years, which is total fucking bullshit on my part and yours too. The judge also rejected a defense request for a hearing into possible juror misconduct. Nelson had accused the juror of not being candid during the jury selection because he didn't mention his participation in the march last summer to honor the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Prosecutors countered the juror had been open about his views. Now, don't be surprised when the appellate process, gets turned upside down, because I'm sure his lawyer or lawyers in question are plotting an appeal, one that could probably get Chauvin sprung out on bail, which I hope to Christ doesn't happen, of course, but you never know. Just keep your fingers crossed because I do admit there was some questionable conduct between the jurors, particularly one that was shown wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt or hat, whatever, at a party, at a congregation or whatever the hell he was at. So yeah, there was some misconduct, but I'm sure hoping that jury misconduct does not affect Chauvin's conviction and sentence right away. I'm sure hoping that doesn't happen. I sure hope that the judge turns a blind eye to that. He needs to. Philip Stinson, a criminal justice professor at Bowling Green State University, said 11 non-federal law officers, including Chauvin, have been convicted of murder for on-duty deaths since 2005. The penalties for the 9 who were sentenced before Chauvin ranged from, listen, 6 years, 9 months to life behind bars, with the median being 15 years, which also applied to Chauvin's case, as he would have to serve just over 65% of his sentence and not the traditional 85%, which would have amounted to like 20 years, 18 to 20, plus credit for time served, which is known as good time. Good time refers to time served during pretrial detention. So yeah, the only way that he would have been in prison longer than his sentence is if Chauvin were to fuck up in prison. Because most people fuck up so bad in prison that they stay in there longer than their sentence. And that's a fact. With Chauvin's sentencing, the Floyd family and Black America witnessed something of a rarity. In a small number of instances in which officers accused of brutality or other misconduct against Black people have gone to trial, the list of acquittals and mistrials is longer than the list of sentences after conviction. Wow, why am I not surprised? In recent years, the acquittals have included officers tried in the deaths of Philando Castile in suburban Minneapolis and Terrence Crutcher in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Ain't that a bitch? That's why the world has watched this trial, because it is a rare occurrence, said Arizona-based civil rights attorney Benjamin Taylor. Chauvin has been held since his conviction at the state's maximum security prison in Oak Park Heights, where he has been kept in a cell by himself for his own protection. His meals brought to him. Yeah, they should keep him in security because the black cats up in there, they'll fucking smoke him. Half of them is serving life and they'll give a fuck. They'll kill a gun. Because all he has to do, or at least not do, is piss off a man with nothing to lose in order to become marked for death. Because, like I told my grandmother, Chauvin will always have a target on his back for the rest of his life. Even on the street, he'd have to look over his shoulder. And you know what she said to me? There's going to be people after him. Because everybody's going to know who he is. Thank you. Thank you. Good point. You see, I'm fascinated with Black America. I'm fascinated with stories about, racial inequality and racial injustice because this affected me as a young kid growing up. So yeah, I love to talk about these things. Racial politics has always been my favorite topic. Something that is relatable to today's world. The other 3 officers involved in Floyd's arrest are scheduled for trial in March on state charges of aiding and abetting both murder and manslaughter. They will also stand trial with Chauvin on the federal charges. No date has been set for that trial. Okay? I'm glad that Chauvin's story is not finished yet. It may appear finished, but it ain't finished. Okay? It ain't over yet. Or should I say this old school? It ain't over yet, motherfucker. Like that. And I'm going to tell you this. Mr. Chauvin better watch his goddamn back inside that cell. He better hope he don't run into a black guard or a sneaky black inmate who may try to fucking cut off his supply to his neck just like he did Floyd. Or might stab him the fuck up, whatever. Cut his fucking head off. You name it. See, when you go to prison, technically you ain't safe. You're being told what to do, when to do it, when you can eat, sleep, shit, fucking piss, fart, you name it. They even decide when or if you need medical treatment. because nearly every inmate has endured some form of abuse when they was in jail or prison. Every man, woman, or child inmate that was ever incarcerated was abused to a certain extent. Just like a lot of us, white and black, that was abused somewhat to an extent, either by our parents, grandparents, or our siblings, even our teachers in question. And other disciplinarians, such as the deans, the security guards, you name it. But I'll tell you, it is very fucked up what we are seeing today and beyond and above. I mean, I was so fucking pissed off, man, when the judge did not throw the book at Mr. Chauvin because I was rooting for 25 years to life, meaning that he will likely serve dead time, meaning that he might have served his 25 and therefore should have qualified for parole, but guess what? He might still be locked up because the parole board may decide, you know what? He's not fit for release. He's a terrorist. If he killed one person, what makes you think he won't kill somebody else, whether they pissed them off or not? Think about it. The parole board always gets the last word in there. I think about David Berkeley. He served 25 years, but guess what? He's still locked up. Meanwhile, Charles Manson had already served 25 years, but never got out. And guess what? He did get out, but guess what? He was dead. He fucking died. He left prison a dead man and not an alive man, which is justice to many of Manson's victims and family in question, The friends and family of the fallen, indeed. And I do believe that George Floyd, I also think that a holiday should be named after George Floyd. I still think his name should be an honor. I don't think his name should be tarnished further because of what happened to him. I think he should be remembered as a good man and not the way he died. I don't think he should be judged or stereotyped by the way he died. But I would rather him be seen as a hero because he made a difference and he made this world a better place in life and in death. Thank you, Mr. Floyd, for reshaping Black America in ways never been shaped before. I'm just sorry that Floyd's death happened under a piece of shit Donald Trump, same as Breonna Taylor. I'm glad that son of a bitch is gone, but fuck him. And fuck Chauvin too. Okay? And I really think that had the cops been worried of his violent conduct, let alone that of the 14-year-old boy, I think that Mr. Floyd in question would still be alive right now. Had Chauvin not been allowed to respond to the scene, had he been reassigned and had his badge and gun took, demoted, whatever, Mr. Floyd would still be alive. I'm just telling you from the bottom of my heart. I'm telling you how I feel. Because I know how fucking painful shit like this can be. Especially to myself and some of you that have been products of racism. So yeah. I'm sure a lot of people tell me that I should be an activist, but I don't know about that. Would I make a good activist? I definitely don't want to be like Malcolm X, that's for sure. He was radicalized. His radicalism, prompted the, Nation of Islam to have him killed of some sorts, I mean, even if I want to be an activist, I don't want to be a radicalized one. That's for sure. That's the thing. I'm just sorry that some of you have had to witness Chauvin's bizarre demeanor inside that courtroom. He did not cry. He didn't even bat an eye. So, again, it's fucked up, And if any more comes out of this, I will bring it out and talk about it. Until then, don't forget to like and subscribe and drop a question underneath the screen. Until then, good luck, be well, and have a good day. Thank you. For the man in the black mask, thank you for your service, he says. If you have any comments, drop it underneath the window. Thank you.